You want to know how Seedify is doing right now, if it's still a good launchpad to get into, what the current state of the project is, and if you're better off just moving over to DAOmaker or any other launchpad. So the current review of the Seedify Fund launchpad as of late 2022/early 2023. So if that's what you're looking for, an up-to-date review to see if you should still invest into Seedify, yes or no, then this is the video for you. So let's get started with the value of today's video. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining me again today. I really hope that you're having a wonderful day. Please make sure to like and subscribe to this channel. I would really appreciate that. Also, note down, I am not a financial advisor. With that out the way, let's get started with the value of today's video. So like I said before, we're talking not about Seedify as a whole per se, but more as Seedify as a project right now. Is it still profitable to get into Seedify? Now, to find out whether that is still profitable and a good idea, we're going to be looking at a couple of things. The first one being the tiered system. Second one being the holders and the token right now. We're going to look at the community sentiment, the Twitter, etc. And we're going to look at the current projects and the most recent projects. What kind of returns did they make, etc. We're also going to look at the most up-to-date roadmap and white paper to get an idea of what the project is looking at right now. So starting with the tiered system. Now the tiered system, it changes every single time. It changes a lot. So it is very important to have the most up-to-date tiered system so that you know how much you have to invest. And of course, the tiered system is very reliant on the current price of Seedify. Right now, it is $2, but for instance, it used to be $15, making the current tiered system much more expensive than it would be right now. So looking at the first tier, as of right now, it would be $540. Now the first tier, as of right now, okay, everything what I'm saying is of right now, okay, I'm going to stop saying it. So as of, I almost said it again, right now, the first tier is not a guaranteed allocation. It is a lottery tier, meaning you would have to pay $540 to get a lottery ticket for the smallest pool weight in Seedify. So I would almost say that it's very expensive, but it's not compared to how expensive it was during the bull run. Right now, compared to the other Seedify prices, it's actually really cheap to participate in Seedify. Were you to participate last bull run in the same tier, you would be paying, well, roughly 8 times as much as you are doing right now. So with that being said, the first guaranteed allocated tier, you will need to have staked 1,000 Seedify Fund tokens, which is already a lot. So let me just type that in real quick. With the current prices, that would be $2.1 thousand US for a guaranteed allocation. So Seedify, obviously it's not for small investors, but as of right now, the prices are lower than it has ever been before, right? We haven't really seen prices coming this low in the history of Seedify. I mean, a couple of times, right? Obviously, around the beginning of just Seedify, when it just got started, the token was worth much less. But after that, it hasn't really been this low apart from over here. So it doesn't happen that often that Seedify is at a price around $2. So yeah, that is worth mentioning. For the rest, all of the other tiers are just violently more expensive, right? The biggest tier, tier 9, requires you to have staked 100,000. So just for the fun of it, I'm really curious to type in how much that would be. It's 10,000, 100,000. Wow, look at that. That is ridiculous. Okay, so the Seedify tiers go quite high up there. At any rate, that's all not very important. For now, all you need to know is this is the current state of the tiered system. This is what you're going to have to be paying. Around these prices are required to either get a lottery ticket or a guaranteed allocation in Seedify. So now that all of that is cleared up, let's look at the token as it stands right now, and that includes the holders as well. So we're going to look at the holders in a bit. First of all, we're going to look at the coin market cap. So as I said before, $2.16 is what the project is on right now. Coin market cap sentiment over here seems to be more bullish than it is bearish, which is of course a good sign. Now, as I discussed with you guys beforehand, Seedify is not at an all-time high right now. This is probably why many of you guys clicked on this video. You're wondering, will Seedify go back to its all-time high and is now a good entry point, or is Seedify going downhill from here? Now, of course, everything is speculation, and I am not a financial advisor. But Seedify, despite the price going down, because the market has been going down, remained to be one of the biggest launchpads out there. The sentiment continued to be positive, and the team is still actively working. So there's not really any other reason for the price being down than just the market as a whole being down. The bigger the launchpad, the more reliant the launchpad becomes on the sentiment of the market. So Seedify is not down because the project is bad, or because they're not launching anything, or because they're pulling rug pulls or whatever. That is not the reason why the Seedify fund price is low right now. So if everything has to do with the market, it all comes down to, do you think that the overall crypto market is going to go up or down? And that is going to decide whether the price will go up or not. And obviously opinions differ on that a lot, but in recent days we have seen the market ease up a little bit, which gives way and gives a chance for this token to go up again also. Now the real question, of course, is this the entry point, or are we going to go down a little bit more before going up again? As we can see here, a couple months ago the token was below $1. So that is a good question, and with the price of Ethereum inevitably dropping quite a lot very shortly, I would almost say that I expect the token to go down a little bit more before starting to rise again. But again, that is all just speculation. I definitely think you can get a better price for Seedify than this. I think you can get another price below $2 before the Seedify price is going to go up again. But as for the question, will the price go up again at all? I personally think so, yes. Now, enough about the speculation. Let's go back to looking at the facts and looking at the token as it is right now. So, of course, it is very important to keep into account that everything here is right now in green, right? The volume is currently at 2.3 million with a 2.47% increase, and the fully diluted market cap is also at an increase, and the market cap is also at an increase. Important to realize, market cap and the fully diluted market cap are both very high. Now, some people might say that that lowers the overall potential of future growth that the Launchpad still has, which is partially true. But on the other hand, the Seedify Fund Launchpad has so much hype and such a large community to it that the overall potential is quite unlimited, even though the market cap is already very high. Now, we're not going to see an incredibly large spike. Clearly, right? We're not going to see a boost to $20 anytime soon with such a market cap. That can be 100% sure. But with the current community that is behind Seedify, I don't see this launchpad losing its relevancy anytime soon. So that is the token as it stands right now. Let's zoom in on the token a little bit and see the daily path that the token has overall. So what we can see in the monthly path of the Seedify Fund token is an overall increasing pattern. But what is more importantly is how stable the token is. We're not seeing any weird patterns. We're not seeing any big drops or big increases. There's good liquidity, and there's overall very equal distribution of how much is being transferred, and an overall very balanced token path. The same can be said for the 7-day marker and for the 24 hours as well. Now, this shows that Seedify is just a very stable token with a very stable investment. And if you put the chart of the Seedify Fund token next to the Bitcoin chart, what you will see is that they are largely the same. So whenever you feel like Bitcoin is going to pump and the market is going to ease up, Seedify will 100% follow. That's just how that works, which is making these price predictions of Seedify that much easier. All you need to know is, will the market go up as a whole? Then Seedify will go with it. Now, I'm not going to do a whole market analysis. You really have to watch a different video for that. So we're just going to move over to the current holders of the token to find a bit more information on how that is looking right now. So currently, 46.3 thousand investors are holding the Seedify token. That is a lot, and clearly it shows that apart from DAO Maker, Seedify is the largest launchpad out there right now. They haven't lost their throne. Even after all of this time, they continue to be one of the most dominant, most held, and most hyped launchpads out there. So the relevancy has not left the project, and it is still very much there. If we look at the amounts that the investors hold, it is absolutely jaw-dropping. Over here, we have multitude, if not dozens, of investors that are holding above $100,000 worth of Seedify fund. Moving a bit more down, we are seeing literally hundreds, if not dozens at least, of $10,000s of dollars being held per investor. It takes us all the way till the top 100, below the top 100, to start dropping below 10,000. So we are seeing an insane amount of big holders, right? Whales in that sense, but is okay because the overall distribution is really good. You have to understand that only the top 200 hold a very significant amount, but other than that, we have 45,000 other investors that are holding hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, and that makes this great balance that you see in the Seedify price. So yeah, I mean, it's great. The distributions are really good, and the fact that there are so many people that are holding these high amounts of tokens, of course, gives a little bit of security that these big, well-seasoned veteran investors put so much money into Seedify, trusting the project. Now, clearly that is a good sign, but of course also the distribution is really good also. The transfers are happening at a very rapid pace. Of course, many transfers every 10 minutes, as probably expected as well. So that is all of that. Let's now start looking at the current projects, which ultimately, is the most important part of Seedify and of this review in particular. So we have, of course, the IGO Launchpad and the NFT Launchpad. We're going to start with the IGO Launchpad. So Seedify, as of right now, has a bunch of projects coming up. Now, again, this video is a review of Seedify during the bear market. And during a bear market, it's very difficult to have projects launching all the time because there's not that many good projects out there. So to see Seedify being able to fetch a multitude of projects is really bullish. So we got all of these projects really good. And then, of course, we have all of their completed projects. So before looking at their upcoming projects, let's take a quick look at what has already happened. And unfortunately, I have to say the results are not that great. And again, bear market, right? If this was the bull run, every single project would make huge returns. So we're talking about a market that it's struggling, it's a difficult time overall. So we cannot expect Seedify to just push out projects that do incredibly well the whole time, right? That is just impossible. But I was a little bit shocked by the amount of just flopped projects that I saw. So starting here with Nomad Exiles, this was from March of 2022, and we're seeing here a minus 90% on investment, right? And this was launched on many big launchpads: TruePNL, DAO Launch, GameStarter, Communitas, Moonstarter, and also Seedify. And just big losses, even in the private, public, everywhere, massive losses. Overall, just a big dump of the token. Now again, right, what we see often with GameFi is that the token is going to be released before the actual game is there. So even if you see a very bad TGE, there's still a chance that the tokens will increase in value later down the line when the actual utility of the token gets introduced. Regardless though, that is an argument when we're seeing maybe a minus 20 or minus 30% on the investment. But when we're talking about minus 90% of your money gone, then there's not really anything that could save the project. You would have lost virtually all of your money, and even if the token goes up quite drastically in price, the project can't really turn into a profitable project anymore. So we can safely assume that this was highly likely a failure, and also the investors from Seedify just lost their money here. Moving over to another project called Menzi, we see here kind of the same happening, right? Another minus 27%. So we see here it was launched on pools, and Seedify actually doing a pretty small raise, right? We have here pools, which isn't even that big of a launchpad, but they did a raise of 600,000, and Seedify only raising 550,000. And again, the ROI was minus 27%. Now, the all-time high was plus 304, but the all-time high is not that important, of course, because much of your tokens at that point are still going to be locked up. So you're not really going to get much of your profits out there because you're not going to be able to sell most of your tokens during the all-time high. So the average ROI is just much more important, as that is overall the price where you're going to be selling most of your tokens for, which is at minus 30%. Now again, if you sell even 20% of your tokens for 300% profit, that is still basically covering most of this. But if you sell 80% of your tokens to a minus 30% loss, I can guarantee you that even if you got a good buck at the TGE, it's not really a successful project, just because the vast majority of your tokens would have been sold for such a decent loss. Now, over here, we see another project that hasn't done very well. Also here, a minus 86%, Seedify minus 88%. So again, Seedify doing a decently large raise. Look at this, 500,000 compared to the other launchpads doing around, all of them together, not even doing half of the raise that Seedify did. So Seedify with a big raise, right? They have a bigger community, bigger investors, so a bigger raise, but the investment didn't really come back. The all-time high ROI was only plus 21%, which is not even a 2x, and the average ROI was at 0.11x, which is a devastating defeat on investment. Now, this was from late March 2022, so actually still quite recent, and just another project that didn't do well. Again, right, the all-time high was not impressive, the average ROI was really bad. Even if the project was to skyrocket now and do a lot better in the near future, it would still be considered a negative project because they can never make up for these large losses that have already been endured. So another not so good project, and unfortunately the trend continues. Penguin cards, very popular, a lot of people were talking about it. A lot of launchpads actually launched this project, including Bull Perks and TrustPad and Phantom Starter. But here we see devastating losses once again. Now, I do have to point out that the all-time ROI, right, the all-time high was a nearly 7x. So obviously, this one depends a little bit on the vesting schedule. So if we click over here, we get all of the information, but Seedify doesn't release their vesting schedules on their website. So we're not really sure. Maybe we can find it on Crypto Ranking. I'm not sure if we can. There it is. So 10% at TGE, then a 1 month cliff, and then 5 months of linear vesting. Yeah, so the problem here is the average ROI was, the all-time high ROI was probably either at TGE or very short after TGE. So we're talking about 10% of the tokens were able to be sold at 582%, right? So that is huge gains over your first 10%, right? Absolutely phenomenal, huge gains, and just 900% profit, right? But then the rest of the tokens, which is 5 months vesting, would have been sold at a roughly minus 94%. So all of the profits that you made selling your 10% TGE, you would have, lost again with this horrible 0.06x. So despite this very high all-time high, you would have sold most of your tokens at a devastating loss, still making this project bad and not profitable, both on Seedify as on all of the other launchpads. But again, Seedify hosting a 400k pool versus all of the other launchpads hosting a much smaller one. So again, no good projects over here. This was also from March, so all of that is a couple of months ago from me recording this video right now. Now, luckily, there are also some projects that did good, so we're going to look at those right now, but keep in mind that Seedify is clearly struggling under the current market conditions, and the projects that they launch are struggling to make money. Now again, we're going to look at some better examples right now, and after that we're going to look at the upcoming projects, but thus far it's looking quite harsh for the returns of the Seedify fund projects thus far. So this is one of the recent projects of Seedify that did perform well. It is called Amazi, and as you can see, the all-time high was at 2.3 thousand x, which is a huge return on investment. And the average ROI was also a 5x. Now, if we look at the vesting details over here, we can see that 20% was unlocked at TGE, meaning 20% of your tokens could have been sold at a roughly 24x. After that, over the past 6 months, you'd have been able to sell your tokens for roughly a 5x, meaning that on average, you'd have made let's say, an average of 10x or whatever, right? So if you put, let's say, $100 in there, well, then you had some pretty good investment returns. So, like I said before, Seedify does still have some very good profitable projects. But overall, due to the bear market, it is just very hard for Seedify to consistently bring projects and also good projects. And we can just see many of these other projects flopping and not doing well. So Amazi is a good example that Seedify does still have that power to really do good projects. And of course, the team is really good at vetting, right? They're really good at finding these good projects. So when we see them struggling and launching these non-profitable projects nowadays, right? That's our observation. The big reason, of course, being the market, right? We've already seen that the team of Seedify is able to do their vetting very thoroughly and that they're quite good at it. So the market is easily 90% responsible for the harsh results over here. But then again, I am amazed. This was very recently. This was in July, definitely bear market. And these returns, it is not something you normally see in a bear market. So very surprised. DAOmaker also did this launch, and both of them had a very big raise. So yeah, Amazi, very bullish on that. And this was actually the most recent. All of these others were from earlier this year. Amazi was one of their most recent ones. All right, enough about this though. Let's take a quick look at the upcoming projects. So the projects that are going to be launched soon. So first of all, Haunted Space. Now I have a in-depth review on Haunted Space. Make sure to check it out. I am incredibly bullish on that project, right? It is a AAA crypto game, something you've never seen before. Definitely the best crypto game graphic wise, and just an overall amazing website, white paper, great vision, and the development already started in 2017 and is well on its way. Haunted Space, again, watch the video. I'm really bullish on it. In 40 minutes, you can learn everything about this project. It is being incubated by Seedify and it is being launched on Seedify. It is still to be announced, so we don't know when the launch is going to be. I know it's not going to take long, as on the Haunted Space roadmap, they specifically stated that it would be soon, and in fact in this quarter or in the next quarter of 2022. So it's not that far off anymore, and I definitely think it is going to do a great return. So this is an amazing project. Now they also have AR Tonar coming up. Now putting up their website, we can see that it is a website where you can explore your virtual world with an amazing 3D view. So it's not incredibly clear what this is, but it is certainly around GameFi and Metaverse, NFTs. Our company has been recognized by additional pioneers. Here you can see Seedify. So I don't know what to think about this particular project. We can take a quick look at their Twitter. Okay, so they have 15K, so they're quite small actually. They do some giveaways. So again, I'm not 100% sure what this project really is. I didn't do my research to AR toner, but overall the website is looking quite basic and it's a very small project. So I'm not really sure about our toner. Seedify is doing the public round. Now, again, I am also not a big fan about public rounds. Don't get me wrong, public rounds can be very profitable, but private rounds are just so much better balanced. And in a bear market, having a very profitable public round is really difficult, even on Seedify. So we're seeing this project that at the surface at least doesn't look incredibly bullish. And then on top of that, it's also the public round. So in a bear market, I don't know. I feel like AR Toner could be one of those projects that doesn't perform so well. Haunted Space, definitely very excited about that. And for the rest, I mean, at least they have a bunch of other projects coming up as well. Most of these are private. Most of them are public, but we do have a private round as well in Lidiverse. So yeah, the current state of Seedify in terms of their projects, a lot of their recently done projects were not very good, but they did have one zinger that had absolute amazing returns. They have a lot of upcoming projects. Haunted Space is the only one I'm very excited about. The rest is looking mediocre. I'm not very bullish on AR Toner. The rest, I took a quick peek at them off camera and they look okay, especially Realm Hunter was quite interesting. So definitely not too bad, but apart from Haunted Space, nothing I'm insanely bullish about either. But I mean, again, this is fine, right? You cannot expect Seedify to be producing the best stuff here in this bear market. So I feel like under the market conditions we're in right now, Seedify is doing just fine. So that is it for the projects. Then of course, there's also the NFT Launchpad. Now there's not a lot going on over here. We see the upcoming IGOs, but there's basically nothing, or at least nothing revealed. And here with Explore IGOs, no records can be found. So there's not really anything going on over on the NFT Launchpad. So if you were interested in Seedify for their NFTs and their NFT launches, their IGOs, they don't really seem to be here as of right now. So that is unfortunate. And we cannot really review anything here as it is not really there. Then of course, for the rest, we have our staking and our farming, and we're not going to go too deep into this, right? This is just very simple and it has never really changed in the history of Seedify, so we don't have to put that much effort into this. But yeah, here you can just do your staking, calculate your APY rate, stake and approve, so you can start getting your staking rewards and participate in the projects. I'm not going to waste your time on this. You guys already know this. So now let's take a quick peek at the Twitter of Seedify to see how active they are, what the current community sentiment is over on Seedify. So the incubator and launchpad for blockchain games, NFTs, and the metaverse. They have nearly 1 million followers over on Twitter. I mean, comes as no surprise, they're a big launchpad, right? Overall, they post very actively, right? This was from 21 hours ago, 10 hours ago, 13 hours ago, so multiple tweets every single day. That's very good. They also have a lot of interaction with their community, right? This is more than 1,000 likes, 367 retweets. And let's see, everybody seems to be quite excited. A nice project, nice, we'll surely attend, woohoo, right? So overall, the sentiment is just really good. They're active over on Twitter. The team is interacting with its community. So nothing really seems to have changed from their prime. They are still just as active on Twitter. They're still just as engaged with their community, and the community seems to still love the project as much as they did it before. So the current state of Seedify, at least over with their community and their social media, is looking as good as ever, which is much more important than people like to think or talk about. Launchpads at the end of the day are crowdfunding platforms, and if you don't have your community under control, or you don't have as much interaction with your community, or you don't have a community at all, you don't have a launchpad. So they're doing a good job and the Twitter is looking good. Now for the rest, we do also have the white paper. I'm going to go over it Real quick, white papers tend to change very often as well, so there's a good chance that things changed around in the white paper. So we're going to give it a good overview just so we know everything and we get our final judgment on the current state of Seedify. After this, I will have my final thoughts on whether Seedify is still worth it, yes or no. So if that is what you're interested in, stay tuned for the last part of this video where we discuss the final conclusion and the white paper as it stands right now. So stay tuned and don't forget to drop the like while you're at it. So the white paper has gone through some changes over time. Of course, they start with an introduction to seedify.fund, a good amount of text, not too much, not too little. Seedify Fund is a blockchain innovation hub with DAO-driven seed stage funds. Yes. So then they go on with the Seedify ecosystem. So the funding pool, the incubator, community involvement programs, community involvement rewards, staking, launchpad, yield farming, DAO, solution partner program, and seedify.fund dashboard for a simple user experience to interact with these systems. So again, very short, all over there, USPs, what you can do on the platform, and yeah, that looks really good. And again, right, they have everything, right? You need the DAO, you need the yield farming, all of those things, good dashboard. So looks great, very well put down in the white paper also. These sets of elements are chosen so they drive win-win situations between the parties involved in our ecosystem, which are mainly entrepreneurs, innovators, and project teams, token holders and stakers, community members, treasury and resources, blockchain ecosystem product and services. So they've done their research, who is using our platform and how can we make the platform so that we help those people do what they do best. So well targeted, well done research, put down professionally in the white paper. This is quite a lot of text, could have been a bit less in my opinion, but yeah, that's there. The mechanics of the fund pool, and then we have a bunch of text, a lot of text actually. Would have loved a bit more visual. There we go. The splitter contract distribution metrics. Yeah, so this is all still the same, nothing here that really changed. Incubator basics, right? Incubator, very important. It is Seedify helping projects to grow, helping projects to get set up and get big. And that is, for instance, what they're doing with Haunted Space. And it is increasing the likelihood of these projects to perform well as they are helped by Seedify, not just with the launches, raising money, but also with many other aspects such as marketing. So they have here all of their incubator basics explained. Lots of text, not very important, didn't change over time either. The project selection workflow, so project name, project logo, etc., yada, yada, yada. Okay, here's the entire workflow, and let's see. Okay, so all of this is just basically explaining Seedify, not that interesting. We're going to move over to the tokenomics and the roadmap. Now the tokenomics clearly haven't changed since the start of Seedify, but we're going to look at it anyways as it is just always required for any review. So the total supply is 100 million. No, that's not 100 million, Rick. That is 100K. Is it? Yeah, that is that. Okay. Initial circulating supply is also 15 mil. Struggling here. Yeah, that's 15 mil. So if that's 15 mil, then this is 100 mil. Guys, math, not my strongest suit, but I'm trying here, right? I'm doing my best. So here we have the initial circulating supply in a graph. 7 mil for community rewards, 2 mil for, it's hard to read, initial operation pool, and 6 mil for initial food fund pool. Okay, it's a bit difficult to read there, guys, but it's doable. Now here we have the tokenomics, 7,000. Ooh, okay, so I love percentages in tokenomics. They don't have percentages and it's quite difficult to read. So I actually expected some better tokenomics here. Let's zoom in a little bit so we can look at it. So we have fundraising pool reserve, clearly the biggest by far. Community rewards also quite large. Initial fund pool at 6 mil. Initial operation pool 2 mil. Liquidity mining. So the team, okay, here's the team. The team is getting 16 mil, which is quite a large amount. 10 mil coins for what? Year marketing and development. Okay. So overall, I don't really like the tokenomics. I said, like, what is in the tokenomics is fine, right? We've both looked at it many times before. It's the Seedify tokenomics. We've all seen it. I just don't like how they put it down. Again, that's not the most important thing, but I just don't like how they put it down, right? The graph It's hard to read, small text, no percentages. It just seems like they could have done it differently. I mean, here they do put their percentages, but I love it in the graph. I mean, that's just me. 9% liquidity mining, 10% first year marketing, 16% for the team, and 50% for the funding pool and the reserve. Okay, now looking at the roadmap, and this is very important for the current state of the project as it stands right now. So we're seeing here the roadmap of 2021. Do they also have a roadmap of later? No, they do not. So they stopped updating the roadmap after 2021, which is surprising. They should have clearly continued with their roadmap, but okay. I mean, all of this is not really relevant anymore, right? Because this is all the way back from 2021. By the time you're watching this video, all of that is already a year ago. If you're watching this video a bit late, it might already be 2 years ago. So there's not much use in reviewing the old roadmap. It's unfortunate that they didn't update it on their white paper. And then here they have the transparency code, yada, all pretty much just disclaimers and all that, things that they are forced to put on their site. Now, for the rest, right, they're still posting actively on Medium. Their Telegram is active. Their Twitter is very active. They are posting and launching projects, at least no NFT projects, but they are posting IGOs. Very excited about Haunted Space, and of course, amazing with amazing returns. For the rest, though, because of the bear market, we're seeing the price of Seedify very low and the majority of their projects doing not so great. So what I think is going to happen, I think that the Seedify price can easily drop a bit more. I think that the Seedify price is very interconnected with the market, and the market will surely go down a little bit more before finally bouncing up again. So the $2 mark, I'm not sure if it's the best time to get into it. I'm personally quite bearish. I think that the price could potentially go below $2, making it an even more interesting time to get into Seedify. But in the long run, I'm very certain that the Seedify Fund token will rise above $2. They've shown the potential. They're still bringing out projects that are doing well. The hype is certainly there. And as soon as the market conditions are there also, then I'm quite certain that they will be able to do that. All right, you guys, that was it for me though. So I really hope you enjoyed the current recent overview of Seedify as it stands right now. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me again today. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys in the next one. Ciao, ciao.